Welcome back to the Becoming Together podcast. I am Sharita Denise, and I am so glad that you're here. Recently, I had the privilege of sitting down with Monique Pearson. She is a best-selling author, a mindset coach, and the CEO of Soaring Without Limits Enterprise. Monique shared with me her own personal story of what it's looked like for her to live and thrive after receiving a life-changing health diagnosis. I'm inspired just by her courage, her tenacity, but most of all, her heart for serving and supporting women who are living with autoimmune conditions and chronic illnesses. Monique serves and leads through empowerment centered storytelling and community healing. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. So, before I go any further and give away the entire episode, let's go ahead and get into it. You are an Army veteran, from what I understand. Thank you for your service, by the way. How long
Yeah, I
were
never
you?
know when people say that, like, you're welcome.
I know. It's like, oh, you're welcome. How long were you in the military? How long did you serve?
8.5 years.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Did you tour or were you kind of here in the US?
No, my first duty station was in Columbus, Georgia, Fort Benning. I was there for 9 months, and then I was sent to Korea for a year, Germany for 3 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
then Colorado for 3 years. And then after that is when I got out.
Oh, wow. Nice. So you got to see a good part of the world.
Oh, yeah, that's what kicked it off for me was the military. That was my first time on a plane. It was
Yeah.
like my first everything because I joined straight out of high school.
Straight out of high
So,
school.
hmm
Wow. Now you're also a federal employee or you former federal employee?
No, actually, still, yes,
Oh,
working
okay.
on transitioning over to full-time entrepreneurship. But
Okay.
yes, I'm still with, well, Department of War now. I'm a
Oh,
supervisor
okay.
for a quality assurance team. So,
Oh,
yes.
nice. Okay.
hmm
Awesome. That's awesome. And you're also a best-selling author and a mindset coach for women, is that?
Yes, that's like a little smorgasbord of different things. I think because of my different experiences, it gives me a couple of lanes that I'm
Yeah.
able to partake in. Um, so initially, Swole, that's my business, Soaring Without
Yeah.
Limits Enterprises, started off as a travel agency, and
Mm,
I never just stuck in that lane. I found that I had to do coaching with them mentally to before I can even get a lot of them on a plane because I only focus
really?
on international travel.
Oh,
So I was like, okay. So that is how I got into the coaching lane
wow.
by default.
By
As a result,
default.
yeah, it wasn't intentional. Um, and it just grew from there. I think as I probably was in a position to stretch and to grow. So that's why I always say it's never too late for you to walk out who your true potential because this
Yeah.
has been within since 2021 since the pandemic, so we're
Yeah.
just in 2026, so
Yeah.
within the past 5 years all of this has started, and I think a lot of people sell themselves short because they think it's too late in life for them to branch off and to try
To
something
try
new.
something new. When someone's meeting you for the first time, how do you usually introduce yourself, like beyond your titles and your accomplishments?
I think I just have a conversation.
Hmm.
It's not about what I do. It's just
Hmm.
relating to whoever it is that that person is that I'm speaking to and
Yeah.
what the topic may be. And I'm just Monique.
Right.
I think a lot of times we get caught up in who we are and what we do versus who we be. And
Yeah.
even myself am learning how to just be versus trying to measure myself by X or what accomplishments and metrics and what I've done, that
Yeah.
just being who I am and showing up as me is enough. And I can
Yeah.
say I'm still working on that. That's a work in
That
progress.
is a work in progress. Having to lean
And
into.
not comparing. I think a lot of us get caught up in that
Yeah.
as well. If we have someone who's in a similar lane, swim lane as us, and
Hmm.
seeing what they're doing, the
Hmm.
accolades that they're getting,
Yeah.
the vision, visibility. So I think that's also important
Yeah.
to swim in your own lane.
Yeah.
Like no one can do it like you do it,
Yeah.
um, and be proud of that.
Yeah. I agree. I love that.
Mhm.
Which of your roles or which phases of your life do you think required
like the most growth, the most strength, where you have come to this place of like, I know who I am. This is Monique, and I show up as myself.
Um, I would say the one that took the most growth or part of life was confidence. And being willing to use my voice.
Mm-hmm.
That I think has probably took me the longest. And there's still moments, like I was saying, far as even though I did been done the podcast for a year, the hesitancy behind it at the root was who is going to want to listen to me? And is my story good enough? Do I have enough to say? And the self-doubt that is beyond a doubt, I think, and will continue to be something that'll be an ongoing effort to continue to combat. And then sometimes you just have to sit back and just reflect your own highlights. Like you did this, you were able to accomplish this. Like, why? What
Mm-hmm.
is the
Like,
reasoning
let me
why
remember
you're
who I
continuing?
am.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I
Yeah.
continuously have to do that.
Yeah.
Even at this phase of being able to have accomplished quite a bit, it's still that doubt that's in the back corner that I have to continue to sweep and brush out the way and be like, okay, let's keep going. You got this.
Mm-hmm.
Like to continue to give myself a pep talk. So
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we never totally arrive. We just know
Right.
how to continue to get ourselves to where we need to be.
Absolutely. I can relate to that. I would say the thoughts of the limiting beliefs in my own head sometimes are so much louder than
Mm-hmm.
anything. And I'm coming to learn how to replace those thoughts with an opposing thought or an opposing view, or to always keep
Right.
something in view that reminds me, no, you are equipped for this, and this is why. And
Yes.
stay the course. That's an opposing view. Don't listen to that. You got to keep
Yeah,
going, and it is not easy.
it isn't. But
It's
you brought up a good point. I think what's important is that you combat it immediately, like
yes.
counter it and not allow it to keep playing and growing roots and becoming like
Hmm.
weeds that is going to be even more difficult to pull. If you quickly like, okay, recognize this, counter this, like, girl, what you talking about? And
Right.
counteract that, like, yes, I think that's going to continue to help you to continue to move forward if you continue to allow that to fester.
Mindset definitely plays like a huge role in those beliefs or those thoughts or nagging voices that come to you that say this is going to be hard, or you have tomorrow, or you can wait. You got to
Yeah,
always be on the offense with them.
I don't think too when it comes to procrastination because I just had to battle this myself. Like, why am I procrastinating? And I think once
Mm,
you get to the root cause, there is always a reason why you're
always.
procrastinating. I
Hmm.
think that is going to be instrumental in you being able to move forward versus
Yeah.
continuing to push it to the side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when I was reading over your bio and learning about your foundation, Soaring Without Limits, I noticed that you are centered in helping women thrive beyond diagnosis and trauma and self-imposed limitations. And it really stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really help but think about my mom. My mom was diagnosed with a terminal autoimmune illness when she was 50 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and her
Mm-hmm.
prognosis was 5 years, and she survived about four and a half of those 5 years. And during those time, that time, of course, she battled with the physical
Mm-hmm.
part of her diagnosis, but she also battled heavily with the mental side of
Mm-hmm.
her diagnosis. And as her daughter, of course, I was a part of her support system. I was only 25 at the time, so I didn't really quite internalize or understand the weight of
All
the
right.
situation and how best to support her. There were times where it would show up. Sometimes she could articulate what it was that she was feeling or experiencing, and then there were times that she could not, and it would show up in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now with time, of course, in hindsight and living life myself, I understand and I've seen, and just recalling like her experience of, that day in the office when the doctor gave the diagnosis and the prognosis and what
Mm-hmm.
the range of emotions were. I don't know that the support that she needed was quite there. What do
Mm-hmm.
you think And what do you believe is like one of the hardest emotions for women to navigate once they receive a diagnosis or a prognosis like that? And what's helpful for like their support system to know?
One, I want to say I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm
Thank
also
you.
thankful that you're bringing this to a platform so people can know how to best support those of us who do have chronic illnesses and what does that look like. So I
Yeah.
thank you for bringing this up. I'm sure that looks differently for every woman.
Hmm.
So I can definitely speak to myself.
Hmm.
Um, I was diagnosed April of well, not last year now, it's 2024,
2024.
right, with multiple sclerosis.
Mm.
And that diagnosis took 4 months to come to. So each step in the process, I was praying that it wasn't that,
Yeah.
that it was something else and that it wouldn't be that. So holding on to the hope of it not being that diagnosis, and then coming to the doctor's office and hearing that indeed it was. For me, it was accepting it. I fought it. I did not want to accept that diagnosis. I was in denial.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. So it's kind of hard to support someone when they're not accepting that this is their truth.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I think it also helped me to allow help. I'm very super like independent, super like,
Yeah.
okay, I can do this myself. I can do this. I don't need to do this. I am so quick
Same.
to help everyone else. Girl, what you need? How can I help?
I'm
Oh,
good, girl.
yep,
I got
yep, yep.
it.
But when it comes to me accepting it,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, no. I like, no, girl, I'm good. I don't need that. And this diagnosis, this journey has opened me up to be able to receive help. And I think what
Mm.
I failed to understand is that as much of a blessing that I am in helping others, I'm denying them that opportunity to be a blessing to me. It
Mm.
just took me a long time, unfortunately, to get there. But I'm so grateful and thankful that this diagnosis on the other side of it helped me to be able to say, yes, please, more, please, thank you.
Yeah.
Because every step of the way I've had a support system, family member, or friend who went with me to those most crucial appointments. And when that news was delivered, I had somebody who I can lean on because I broke
Right.
down. I go, there was no need for me to continue to be strong like I was trying to
Mm.
throughout this process. I was like, okay, I can break. Like I'm going to be okay, and I can truly express what I need to feel at this time.
Yeah.
So I would say one, for those of us who have a struggle with allowing help, that you are going to definitely appreciate it, not having to walk that journey out alone.
Yeah.
If you are willing to allow someone in to support you during that season when you need it most.
Thankfully, you were able to communicate that once you came to a place of acceptance.
Yeah,
So that is, I think that is really big in understanding from the opposite end that sometimes you have to work through, your own acceptance of where life is headed. Because sometimes life changes and it's not what you expected, and you're
right.
rejecting it, and you're having to come to terms with it on your own. And sometimes we're wanting to support you, but not knowing the best way to support you. So thank you.
Right. And they may not be able to articulate it at that time.
Yeah.
I personally couldn't speak about it without crying. And I didn't want
Yeah.
to keep every time I saw
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
hard for me to come and ask for help because I couldn't emotionally, I wasn't emotionally there yet
There.
to
Yeah.
continue to talk about it. So it forced me, I'm a person who shuts down. But one thing, I'm cognizant of that. So I did seek a therapist.
Oh,
So if
good.
that is something that you are prone to, for those of us who shut down and shut people out, at
Mm.
least get a therapist so you're articulating to someone and not
Mm.
holding all of that in and carrying it until you get to a point where you feel you can speak to it and be able to let friends and family in. At least, definitely, I'm highly proponent of mental health and seeing a therapist and
Yeah.
somebody can help you maneuver through that because there are specialists who specialize in chronic illness, and that was what I
Mm.
found. So that was
Wow.
very helpful because the therapist that I had previously, she told me, this isn't my lane. I can't help you. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you've been my therapist for 4 years.
And now I gotta
Now
go get
you're
another
abandoning me too. So that was
one.
another layer. Like I was like, oh, I gotta go
Yeah.
find. Yeah. So it was, yeah, it's convoluted in all the different things that you have to
Yeah.
overcome.
I love that you shared that because just thinking back, my mom's, her diagnosis was many, many years ago, almost 15 years ago now at this point. I don't remember any point in time where the doctor or an advocate or anyone came in and offered any suggestions as to, like therapy, like, there's someone available or just some guidance on how you can navigate this. That wasn't really prevalent, especially the conversation around mental health wasn't as prevalent
Oh,
then.
not at that
Yeah,
time.
not at
So
that
no.
time. So
Hmm.
that wasn't something that we naturally even thought of or considered. We just rode home in silence that day. We didn't even know how to talk about it together.
Right.
And so you sharing about how you sought therapy is really, really helpful because I don't know what it's like now, but I know then it was not like that. There was no suggestion of it, and just we weren't even in that mindset at all. So
Right. Well, I'm thankful in the time and era that we are like now, that's like commonplace. And I'm
yeah,
sure 15, 20, 30 years ago, those who are dealing with chronic illness, like just the lack of knowledge. The
yeah,
treatments were still being developed, still trying to figure out, because I've been talking to so many women as a result of doing this anthology, Beyond the Diagnosis, Stories of Living and Thriving in conference, and hearing
mm,
their stories. And I've chatted with a couple of them who were diagnosed over 30 years ago, and just saying that they wish they had something like this when they were diagnosed because they felt alone and didn't have a
yeah,
support system. So I can't even imagine having to shoulder all of that. One, not knowing treatment wise still being developed. Two, not having a mental health aspect. So I just, man, my heart hurts for the journey, those who have
yeah.
laid that groundwork before us, and those who have this now, that we have a greater support system in place.
Having women that you can see and hear who have experienced what you've experienced and how they're navigating it is so
Mm-hmm.
important. Just to know you're not alone.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
always have the stats, the medical records, all of that. And I know for me, I was like, okay, I want someone I can relate to who
Yeah.
is being willing to be transparent and open and honest and tell me their story. And like, Monique, look out for this. When you have to go and get your infusion, you might want to consider this. That is what I was looking for. And
Mm,
oftentimes, we don't have that person who is willing to be the guide for us.
yeah.
So that is the premise of where this project stems from. For those who don't have community, those who don't have someone who they can talk to, who they can relate to, someone that looks like them, who's walking this out, to be able to create that for them.
Wonderful. What have you seen as a result of creating spaces and communities for healing and filling gaps that traditional healthcare don't, that they often miss in this arena?
Well, we're just getting started. This, like I said, I got diagnosed in April of last year, so it took me at least 8 months to even make my peace with it. So this project just kicked off 2 months ago, and it's
Oh,
going to
wow.
be the inaugural in May of this year. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so we're just getting started. Next year I
Just
can give you
just
some
getting
more
started.
feedback on that. Yes.
Good. I think that what you're doing will definitely be a blessing. I know it's gonna be a blessing for sure to so many women. So
Well, as we said in the beginning, if it's one person that feels like it makes a difference, then
that's all that
my job is
matters.
done.
Your job is
So
done. Yep.
that's
Yep.
it. Yep.
What helped you move into from personal healing into public leadership in the space?
As I told you, I never planned or was intentional on doing
Yeah.
any of this. What we don't plan on, God has other plans in store for us. But what is so funny, when I started the business, one, again, the self-doubt and questioning, because when you've only been an employee and
Mm,
never had to be a CEO, the questioning is there. Are you capable? Can you do this? And
mhm.
for me, working a full-time job and doing this as well, like all those questions. So once you show yourself, prove to yourself that you can do one thing, that gives you the strength to be able to take that next step.
Yeah.
And that led me into the public speaking forum. Um, And again, as a person who always tried to hide, to wanted to be the person behind the stage to support everyone else, I never sought to be the person in the forefront. So
Yeah.
that really took a lot for me to come forward. But one, being able to share those of us who may have been victims of sexual trauma as
Mhm.
adults or
Yeah.
as children, or in my case, both. When women come back to you, those who are still reaching that point where they're not at a place to share their story, but hearing you be able to come forth and share yours and show that they don't have to remain stuck,
Yeah.
that is what empowered me to continue to keep speaking and moving forward. When you hear people come back to you like that really helped me and I see you, then I was like, okay, this is why I was called to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
when it becomes clear. It's less about yourself. It's not about yourself at all at that point. You are just being a vessel. So, what does leadership look like for you now?
Well, as I said, I'm still in the workforce still. So I
Yeah.
guess my hat changes. Well, even though I'm in the workforce, I'm in a leadership position. So,
Right.
but
Okay.
all of us are still subservient to someone. For those of
Yeah.
us who are men and women of faith, we're still a servant of God.
Absolutely.
So you will always be in a position where someone has authority over you.
Yeah.
So for me, that comes easily. Being a servant leader, I'm always thinking what is going to be best in the corporate world for my team. How can
Hmm.
I put them in position so that they can step in and into my shoes and, of course, then surpass me?
Hmm.
How can I continue to be of service? And then that same principle applies when I'm working with clients. How
Yeah.
can I serve them? That is
Yeah.
my thing, as far as
Your
how
whole
can
goal.
I best give them the best service and help them to get what it is that they're coming to me for.
Right.
And those of us who chase, of us, those who chase money, I feel like you're taking away the impact,
Yeah.
because it is everything that we do should be deeper than a dollar.
Hmm.
At least that
Yep.
is how I live.
Hmm.
And I feel like money will always come, but being
Yeah.
able to make a difference may not. So
Yeah.
I keep that in mind when I'm working with people, and to make sure that they have the best experience, however they encounter me, in whichever form that may be, that they
Yeah.
leave away with a great experience.
Yes. How do you protect your well-being while you're in this capacity?
One, I had, and the diagnosis helped me with this because I had no choice to stop stop pushing myself. I was a pusher. Like, I know I'm tired. I know, like, I've done this, but I was like, oh, just keep going. Like,
Yeah.
not showing myself grace. And a result of this diagnosis, I have come to the finally come to a place like, okay, listening to what my body needs and what my spirit is telling me. If I'm tired or if I need a break, or I'm not pushing myself, like, okay, that is it for today. And then not feeling guilty for resting. I think
Mm.
it took a lot of years for me to accept that rest is also an assignment,
Yeah.
and not to have guilt tied into it. Because if you go back
Hmm.
even to the Bible on the 7 days, even the Lord rested. So who am I?
Who am I to not
Hey,
rest?
I don't need rest. Oh, rest is for the lazy, and feeling guilty and
That
condemning
was
myself
definitely
for
my
taking a
mindset. Rest is for the lazy.
yeah, like it was always tied into guilt, because I would just be there like, you could be doing this, you could be doing this. Like, I was so hard on myself.
Yeah.
Man, so I'm thankful that I finally got to a place of being able to show myself grace. The same
Yeah.
grace that I extend to others, I now extend it to myself.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question about that because I had the same mindset. I think I've worked past it now for the most part. I need to take rest. I'm pretty in tune. I'm going to take some rest.
Hmm.
But where do you think that comes from? Like where do we develop? Because I hear that, especially culturally for, African American women, I hear us all the time talk about, like how we don't know how to rest or how we're just now learning to rest and give ourselves grace. And where did this come from? Like, I know I didn't grow up seeing women who rested. They were hard workers, they were diligent, they were always serving others. Like, that's just what I saw. I never saw a rest
Right.
model.
I saw that too, because I think it was more so a survival tactic
Mm,
mentality that has been carried over the generations, and we're not seen as that's a leisure or a nicety that is afforded to us that we always
Mm.
had to. Ever you were pushed hustle, hustle. That's all you heard
Hustle.
was hustle,
Mm-hmm.
grind. That's what was glamorified, I believe, in
Yeah.
our culture. But I want to be like the people who are in those other upper tier echelons. And
Oh,
you and I was
yes.
like, yes, I want to be like them. I want the
A
passive
rested
income.
woman.
Let my money make money while I'm sleeping, while I can
Right.
sit and relax. Yeah, let me get on that
Like, what
mentality.
does that feel like?
Right, that part. I want that to be glorified, but I think I think unfortunately where that stems from,
Yeah.
not having the luxury to rest because you had to grind to provide, to take care of, whether as far as a lot of times being a single parent households and you had
Mhm.
multiple children and you having to do what you had to do. That was always the thing
Yeah.
on that. You got to do what you got to do to get out there and get it.
Yep,
So
that
that
was
is
it.
what is promoted. So
Yeah.
if that's all you hear and that's all you've seen and that's all that's an example for you, you're
Yeah.
subconsciously going to take that in and feel like that's applicable to you too, even
Yeah.
though it's no longer serving you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. That's definitely what what I think drove it and drove us all now to where it's like we got to take rest. I think our health and our, mentally and physically, our minds and our bodies just can't hold it anymore. So it's like either rest or pay
Yeah,
the price for
yeah.
not resting.
Lay
Yeah.
down or get lay down. That's pretty much by
There you
force or
go.
by will. Which one are you? Which one do you choose?
Mm-hmm.
Especially as you get older, like
Yes,
physically, you can't continue to do
you
it like you used
can't.
to do it in
I
your 20s.
Yeah, I had a burnout. I experienced burnout for the first time last year. Now at the beginning of last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even know that that was a thing. I thought burnout was just like, oh, I'm tired, and I've done too much, and I got to lay down and get some rest. No, it was like bone deep. Like my body was shut down. Mentally, I couldn't do anything. Physically, I felt like I had a flu that was worse than anything that I've ever
Wow.
experienced. I was so tired, I couldn't get enough sleep. And I was just completely burnt out. And after that, that's when I started prioritizing rest. Like I always knew, oh yeah, I need to get rest. But then I was it almost was kind of like having a bit of PTSD. Like I never wanted to feel like that
Mm.
again.
How
And
do you
so
recover from that? Because I'm sure some other women probably have that as well. How do you come back from experiencing burnout, and what do you do to prevent it from coming back?
um coming back from it, recovering from it took rest. I mean, you don't really have a choice because you can't do anything but rest. I remember, like, I'm really big on routine. So I have, like, on Sundays, I do my meal prep and,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting everything together for the week. And, Mondays, I had a certain regimen each day. I couldn't even show up for myself enough to cook a meal. Or the
Mm-hmm.
most that I could do was get up and take a shower and maybe warm something up to eat, or maybe order something, as it came down to me having to order. I couldn't do anything. And so I had to just lay there, which was probably the best thing that could have happened because I would have kept going if I could have.
Mm-hmm.
And so just leaning into that rest and not feeling guilty about it at the time really helped me to slowly recover. And then
Mm-hmm.
while I was in that time where all I could do was just kind of lay there and rest, I had a lot of time to think. And I started to make some changes to how I was working
Mm-hmm.
and designating days and times for, I call it my sabbatical day. I chose from that moment forward, Friday was always my day where I did nothing. It was a day where I didn't think about anything, the day where I didn't answer an email, I didn't answer a phone call unless it was, from the kids or it was an emergency or something.
Right.
Some days I might look like just staying in the bed all day. Maybe I go see a movie or, just something. It just was a free day to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so that was one way that I decided to protect it, protect, myself from burning out again. And then also taking time in the morning. Taking time in the mornings is really, really important to do, just to sit with myself and to talk to God and to just
Mm-hmm.
have a slow, slow morning. Even if that meant I had to wake up earlier to get it done,
Right.
that was really important just to gather my mind and to reprioritize what's important for the day and what
Mm-hmm.
deserves my energy and my focus. So those things helped a lot with recovering and making sure that I never go back there again. And lastly, being really, really in tune with your body. You can always tell
Yeah, it gives us the
It
markers.
gives us the markers. You can tell when you're reaching there. And now, because I've experienced it before, I know what it feels like. And I know when I'm pushing it a little too much. And then
Right.
I pull back. I'm like, all right, stuff starts. I'll reschedule this. I'll move this. I'll cancel this. I can't do that. Sorry, it's a no today. Like I
Yep.
learned the art of saying no. Because not saying no kind of got me there in the first
That
place.
part.
So
Hmm.
yeah, all of those things together helped me recover from it and then make sure that I don't go back there again.
Yeah. I implement some of those principles myself, as far as just the day of nothingness is what I call it. But I found that
Mm.
after I give myself that day, all the stuff that I wanted to accomplish, I do that and more when I come back. So
Yeah,
to
you come
me,
back refreshed,
yeah, like you
energized.
are actually going to probably gain more by giving yourself
Yeah,
that day versus if you were
absolutely.
to continue to push yourself, knowing that you're tapped out.
Yep, yep. And learning how to simplify life also, I think helps because sometimes we overcomplicate things, I think, in our own way and in our own mind, and feeling like we
Mm,
have to do all these different things.
there
It's
you
like, who
go. I
said
was
I
just gonna
had to do that? Like, who set the marker
Yeah,
there? I did
that part.
that.
I did that. I mean, I was like, I said this was going to be done today. I was like, okay, if it's not done, then what?
Right, then what? Exactly. So it's like, you know what? I have the power. I set the marker. Let me just move it around. Let's not
Yeah,
overcomplicate
there you
this.
go. There you go.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely looking at, how to simplify life. It was a process. It still is a process. It's ongoing because you have to, figure out what works and
And
sometimes that
delegating.
changes.
You don't have to be team
Oh,
everything. I think a lot of times we get caught, oh, I got to do this, do
oh,
this, this. You
that's
let
one thing
everyone
I'm
work
still
in the
working on.
ministry that is their ministry of excellence, and you stay in your lane. If you be willing
Absolutely.
to sub delegate, like it just makes your life so much easier.
Yes, it does. It does. It feels a little different when you're not used to it, but it does make your life a lot easier. A lot
Hmm.
easier. You mentioned survival mode earlier. What would you say to the woman who's so used to living in survival mode? Like, what's a step that she can take to like get herself out of that?
I'm going to go back again and speak to my own experience. For me, I had to go to therapy because I was like, I was so used to living in high stress environments and
Yeah.
operating under high pressure and high stress. When I felt no stress, that felt weird. And I
Yeah.
was like, something is wrong. Why am I
Uh-huh.
not feeling like, I
Just
was
as
like, oh,
high
is this a
strong
new,
for no reason.
like, is this a new level of something that is coming? Because I didn't know what that felt like to
Yeah.
not be under stress. Like
Yeah.
my normal was stress. So when I felt like at ease and calm, and I was just like, I've been here too long. Something is wrong. I'm being honest. That is how I really register that. And I had to go to therapy to learn like this is normal. This is where you should be. This is a
Mm,
where you should be, and learning how to embrace that. Like
yeah.
that was recent, like last year.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
Getting
recent
to
for
that
me as
place.
well.
Yeah, she's like, you're at a place where people want to get to. And I was like, really? Because you are so used to being under stress,
Yeah.
underneath trauma conditions, like you don't know how to just
Yeah.
be in a place of zen, so to speak. So to
Yeah.
me, I think it helped me out to be able to go to therapy and recognize like this is okay.
Yeah.
How can I stay here? What did I do to get here? And how can I continue to maintain it?
Gotcha. How do you continue to maintain it?
Um, I think, as I said, another positive part of the diagnosis is realizing that stress is a killer. We
Mm.
all have heard that and know how much of an impact stress has, but I know with this diagnosis, it causes flare ups and
Uh,
I will be down, down.
so you
So
have to manage it.
I have to. It's a matter, it's not nice to, it's a
Yeah.
mandate for me. So I definitely look at things differently. Like, is that worth me causing stressing over? Like
Yeah.
I've learned to really just let stuff roll off that I used to make mountains out of molehill. Now
Yeah.
it's not even that serious for me anymore.
Yeah.
Like because I do not want the impact of what being under high stress would do to me physically.
Yeah. I definitely think that therapy helps with all the things and finding the right therapist. Um,
Oh, that part. You definitely have to have that. But I just came to, for those who are still resistant to it, we have no issue going to get tune-ups and maintenance as scheduled
Mm,
on our cars, on our homes, on our most valuable
yeah,
things that we have. And are we not the most valuable thing that God created is ourselves?
absolutely.
So why would we not to want to invest in our own tune-ups and maintenance? And that's what I consider
Yeah,
therapy to be. And of course,
absolutely.
those of us who walk by faith, leaning into your faith, that's also always going to be a
Yeah.
component. But that's
Hmm.
how I see it. I try to put it in a perspective like, okay, it's deeper than just going to talk to somebody and people who discount it. I just see how much of a blessing it has been in my life. So
Yeah.
I'm always going to be a cheerleader for it.
Yeah, me too. I always say I believe in my Bible and therapy. Like I'm gonna do
Mm-hmm.
both.
You can. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, how it used to be, like we were just always told to go to the altar and pray
yeah,
away. But I mean, we can go. That's what these people went to school for. That is their ministry.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
And you can always find, I mean, there's so many different therapists out there and they specialize
faith-based.
in so many different lanes. Yeah, and my therapist is faith-based and I love that
Mm-hmm.
because she incorporates faith into, the practical side of therapy as well. So there are
Yep.
times where she's gonna pull out the Bible and she's gonna go to a scripture and I'm like, okay, you know what? I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Uh-huh. So there you go. For those who feel like, okay, uncomfortable is because the word of God is in it. You have no excuses. You can
No
find whatever you
excuses.
need
Hmm.
in this time, day and age right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. What is a daily practice that you have that's helped you stay grounded when life feels unpredictable?
For me is starting the day off with me and God, having my devotion time. I
Yeah,
just know when I miss that, that sets a different tone for the day and how
yeah,
I respond to the day. So being able to start that time off in one prayer, getting to read my Bible, into for me is journaling,
mm,
setting what happened the day prior, how I want the day to go. And then
yeah.
also I have an affirmation journal. So I
Oh,
start off
nice.
with at least 5 minimum affirmations every day and keep that in my journal. So, and then a women's devotional. So it's like an hour routine that
Yeah.
I set aside, like I've been doing, I don't know how many years. But that works for me,
I love
to be
that.
able to create that time and space for me and God to connect, and then for me to connect to me,
Yeah.
and set the intention for what I want for the day.
I love that. I love, love, love it. I teach journaling as a healthy habit. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm a huge advocate for journaling. I have not probably, I have been journaling all of my life. When I was a child, I get my allowance. And my grandmother would take me to the store, and the first thing I'm buying is notebooks and pens and highlighters and papers. And I would just write all the time. And she's like, "What are you writing in there?" It would be so much stuff in there. I actually keep them. So I have like a lot of them throughout the
Right.
years. And every now and then I might go and look back, especially because I will journal everything, whether it's thoughts or feelings or maybe some action items or certain goals or my prayers. Like it's all in there, or
Mm-hmm.
affirmations and things. And so just going back sometime and looking, I can see, I don't think it's until then that I actually can see a lot of times the growth or the
Growth.
change that I've
Right.
had throughout the years. And it's like, wow, who is that?
That
Like,
person. Like,
you
oh,
know,
reintroduce yourself to you. But yeah,
yes.
same
Yeah, who
way.
is that? Or I might look back at a goal or something I said that I wanted to do, and I'm like, oh, I did
I
that.
did
Like I didn't
that.
even realize I did it. And I
Mm.
might not have even had a plan, to do it. I just said I want to do this, or this is who I want to become. And the next thing you know, it comes to pass. So I
Yeah, I
love,
believe that's a part of speak the word and make it plain, as far as writing that
absolutely.
out and laying the vision. Then
Yeah.
a lot of that can be used. You can take, at least that's going to be my intention.
Mm.
Is to take all of those journals and turn it into something. I don't know if it's going to be a guide or what. Once I
Mm.
get all of them together, because my stuff is in
Yeah.
storage, but yeah, I don't even know how many journals I have,
Yeah.
but I knew, I was like, okay, I've always been one. being a person who was an introvert and super shy, like the
Mm-hmm.
journal was my microphone before I picked up the mic.
Wow, maybe that's what it is. Because we share that. I was super,
Hmm.
super shy. I'm still very shy. Most wouldn't know it because, I walk into a room and I start talking to some, random strangers. But my profession, I think, caused me to have to, learn how to navigate spaces and communicate
Hmm.
with others. So I had to lean into a side that wasn't natural, but just in my normal, natural life, I'm really quiet and reserved and shy.
Yeah.
And,
So I think that was it, far as being able to write out what I always wanted to say, because I couldn't
and
say it. I can always write it.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I just feel like somehow you're gonna need to express whatever that may look like for you, and it's different for every
yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah. I love that. What does becoming mean to you in this current season of your life?
I think it's more so of not becoming, but as I spoke to and alluded to earlier, but being. I think I spent enough time the
Mm,
past 25 plus years becoming, doing, and to me, I allude becoming to what act or what performance or what metrics I need to do.
yeah,
I want to learn and lean into more at this phase of life of being,
being,
of just showing up and being, as you said in the first question, who am I beyond my titles?
yeah,
Not to have to always allow my titles to be the lead into who I am, but allow my aura, my light speak for me.
yeah.
So that is what I'm saying. I'm not becoming, but I'm being
You're
at this
being.
phase of life.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. If you could remind women of one truth as they navigate faith and health and purpose, what would it be?
One, that you have everything that you need inside of you to be the best you that you can be. We've spoke for this past hour, it is, about all the times that we had to remind ourselves of how wonderful we are. I
Yeah,
think, as you said, you just went through your journals and like, oh, I did this, I did that. We forget that we are awesome. So if you would just take a moment when you have that moment of self-doubt, that procrastination because you doubt whether or
yeah,
not you can accomplish something, to just sit still and reflect on all that you have been able to do and
yeah,
let that be your fuel to continue to run forward and accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. You already have all the tools inside of you. You just need to plug in.
yeah, yeah. You're so right. We already have it all inside of us. I hear that often. Sometimes I have to be reminded of that. So thank you
Yeah.
for reminding me
I think
of
we
that.
all need a reminder, me included. So,
Yeah, yes. Whenever we need a reminder, we're going to listen back to this.
mm-hmm.
We already have everything inside of us that we need. Thank you for sharing. Monique, how can listeners connect with you and the work that you're doing?
Yes, so they can reach me on my website, www.iammoniquepearson.com. Please tune in and check out the podcast, the Triple E podcast on YouTube and Spotify. And I'm on all social media platforms as Monique Pearson.
Thank you, Monique. And you mentioned the community that you're building. When will you be having your inaugural event for the community?
Yes, so we are kicking off. First, it's going to be an anthology. Myself and 9 other women. I have 3 vacancies left for if any
Oh,
woman is listening to this who has an autoimmune disorder that is willing to share her story to inspire, empower, and educate others. You are welcome to contact me at my website. I'll definitely respond. So it's
okay.
going to be become beyond the diagnosis, stories of living and thriving, women with various autoimmune disorders sharing their stories. And then we'll be launching that project at the conference with the same title, May 16th, 2026, here in Columbia, Maryland, at the Owen Brown Interfaith Center, Saturday from 12 to 4. The women who participate in the project will be able to be on panel to ask some questions, to share their experience. I have health and wellness coaches coming, a sound bath. We'll have a DJ, a Mediterranean brunch, a networking opportunity, because this is all about forming community. So I'm super excited. Tickets are on sale now. You can get those at my website. www.IamMoniquePearson.com. And as I said, I still have 4 vacancies. If there is a woman listening to this who would like to share her story, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And we would love to have you be a part of this effort. We are looking for vendors that I want to highlight small businesses as well that can participate. So all this is on my website. So definitely feel free to touch base if it's something that resonates with you.
Wonderful. Thank you. I love to hear everything. I love, love, love all of it.
Oh, thank you
Has
so
me
much.
exciting. I wish I was closer. Who knows? Well,
You're
May
only
start.
a plane ride
That's what I was
away.
thinking. I said, oh, wait a minute, May, we got time to get a plane ride together.
Yes, that sounds like that's a direct flight from Houston.
It
So that's
is. Yep, direct flight. Yeah, it is. Probably about 2.5 hours,
yeah,
maybe.
2 hours. Yep.
Yeah, about 2.5 hours. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for just dropping so much knowledge and so much wisdom and so many gems that I will personally use. And I know that the other ladies listening will use and be able to benefit from as well. And thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. Happy to be here and happy to serve, and hopefully it helps someone.
Absolutely. I know that it will. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monique's story is so full of strength and resilience and wisdom. I really could have just sat and talked to her all day, but I had to wrap it up. I am really excited about all the work that she's doing and all the work that God is going to do through her and through the lives of the women that she serves. I can't wait to hear more about it, and I'll be keeping you up to date as I learn more. You'll learn more. If something shared during this episode resonated with you, please pass it along. Share it with a sister, a friend, or someone who you know could use it. And if you're enjoying these conversations, taking a moment to rate or review the podcast will also help more women find this space. Thank you again for rocking with me here on the Becoming Together podcast. If you would like to keep the conversation going, you can find me over on our Substack community at becomingtogether.substack.com. Over there, we continue these types of discussions by sharing written reflections with other women that are walking alongside the same journey as you. Until next time, take care. Talk soon. Bye.